Stella, don't even look on the floor. Hello witches, and welcome back to A Coven of Two, where we discuss witchcraft and activism. You can call me Isha, my pronouns are she, they. And this is the 6th day of the 12 Days of Yule challenge. On the 6th day of Yule, Ivy Corvus brought to us reflections on death and rebirth. But before we get started, let me mention that I've opened a Ko-fi, which is basically an alternative to Patreon that takes less from creators. And on there you can do a one-off donation or a monthly subscription donation to support the work that I do here. And you can also get tarot readings, donate what you can from £5 onwards, and you can get a tarot reading with me, Italian style. So if you would like to support what I do here, you can head on to Ko-fi, and if you do so, thank you so much. I'm being slightly less excited about this because, as you might have seen in my video on why do I do witchcraft, I don't have a great relationship with death, and I actually suffer from thanatophobia, which is extreme death anxiety. And part of the reason why I got into witchcraft was exactly because I was grieving, and I'm still working through it. And actually I'm really fascinated by the work of Olivia, the Witch of Wanderlust, because she mentions how she works with that. She does that ritual, so does Ivy, the occultist. And I hope that in time maybe I can get to a place where I can work with it, so that maybe I will work to accept it. One of the things of winter, like I have maybe this is becoming too much of a therapy session, but this is how my autistic brain works. My favorite month of the year is actually November. So I like the darkest part of the autumn that actually feels like winter. I used to love December, not so much for like Christmas or the gifts, but because where I was born and raised, which is North Italy, you know, the sunset came earlier, but no earlier than like 5 in the afternoon. And I liked that there was still so much life and movement, and you could see the lights of shops, the lights of cars going around. It wasn't just dark and dead, but it was dark and alive, and I liked those lights. And so I actually had a lot of appreciation for the darker months of the year. I liked November so much that we got married in November, Raven and I, because it was absolutely my favorite time of the year. And then this November, actually, I was walking somewhere, and I get a lot of intrusive thoughts about death especially, and at time it's hard to discern if it's an intrusive thought or is this my intuition and should I listen to it? We'll get to that in a second. And I was just walking around, and all of a sudden I had this random synapse firing saying, what if of all the times that I love of the year, November is going to be the one that betrays me and I will die in a November, or I will not see next November, something like that. My brain just goes there, like the kind of reminders that I have constantly without going to think about it, about not even impending doom, but the realistic statistic time that I have left. It's still not consoling to the least. I don't know how I'm very glad if people don't have this constant anxiety, which apparently seems to be the case. I keep unfolding time in my head and multiplying and subtracting and seeing how much time I have ahead of me, basically, statistically, which also is very ironic because accidents happen. And the times that my life has actually been closely at risk has been because of accidents, so happens like that. So I don't work well with that. And I think it's emblematic and very accurate, very revealing that my birth cards pair If you don't know what that is, I'll link the book by Mary Kerr Greer down in the description below. Is the Emperor, my birth date reduces to 4, which is the Emperor, which means that my hidden cards are Death, which is something that I need to work through, and 22, so the Fool, which I kind of get, not so hidden, like that's very, I think, out there. As Aster says, I'm very enthusiastic, and that qualities of the Fool are always there. But on the other hand, I have this not so great relationship with the idea that this life is going to end. Because I am very good in this life at seeing silver linings, actually, and despite my trauma and my unlucky things, unlucky memories, unlucky times, I like where I am now. I am so incredibly grateful for the life that I have now. And by all means, it's not covered in gold and dipped in marshmallows. There are negative things, but at the same time, I am so grateful, especially for the people that I'm sharing it with. I'm grateful for the house that I have that is so safe, and I've never felt this comfortable in a place. So I guess I'm scared of this time went decently. Even if there are other lives, am I going to be as lucky? How long is it going to take me to find Raven again? Because let me tell you, I had to come a long way to come and find them, and it wasn't easy, and it was so much by chance, considering that we're actually clearly two parts of the same thing, that I am scared shitless about. I've solved the jigsaw once. I am terrified at the fact that I have to start over. At best, I have to start over. At worst, warm food. So that's the thing. I don't have something enlightening or positive or possibly entertaining as I usually do have to talk about death and rebirth. It is consoling to me that light is coming back, but at the same time, we're getting closer to New Year's Eve. And the two worst days of the year for me are New Year's Eve and my birthday, because those are inexorably determining time passing. And time's arrow only marches forward, and that is time that I've spent, and so it's no longer ahead of me. So I'm sorry, I'm being a bit of a downer on this. This is my one Achilles heel, death. And hopefully, one of the things that I hope to get from my practice is to live better with it. One of the reasons why, to me, it's so important to be able to communicate with my ancestors and be able to absolutely discern that anything that comes to me or I hear or I feel is real and doesn't come just from my own head, because that proves something in a way. So I wonder if for me it's harder to have any clairs because there is such an investment on them for me. Like it would change my entire life outlook. But alas, you can tell that is an anxiety, because the moment that was solved, the moment that even I knew that, you know what, it's for certain, you die, you reincarnate, you still find the people that you love. And that's how it works. And you know, you do it to learn more and to learn different things. Even if that was a given, I would still be then worrying about, as I said before, but what will I have to go through to find you again? And will I have the same lucks that I've had in this life? And what other things will be taken away from me? And you can tell that it's an anxiety, because the moment that you present, doesn't matter how unlikely, but a possible solution, there's going to be immediately something but that's not good enough, and there's something else to be worried about. So that's personally, by the way, how I try to differentiate between intuition, I have a gut feeling that comes from somewhere, and anxiety. Anxiety usually goes in circles and does not resolve. Fun fact, I've had a weird anxiety for the entirety of the month of December, and I was like, oh, surely it's just bad memories, da, 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 da. No, something was happening, and was happening in Italy, where I have a lot of trouble to solve because my mother is a horrible person. Let's not talk about that. But indeed, there were things happening, and that anxiety that I had was basically what I got to realize something is off, but I don't know what. And thankfully then I learned about it when the people that are helping me were already handling it. But that was something I was like, see, I have a gut feeling. It's not just anxiety, but discerning between the two. I'm trying to learn better how to do, basically. Sorry if this video was a tiny bit of a downer, and you know what? If you want a space to talk about your worry, your fears, your maybe not so entertaining side or so interesting side of witchcraft, but that's important to you and to the person that you are, leave me a comment. That's basically the circle. Hi, my name is Isha and I have a problem with death. What about you, basically? Right, I hope that this was useful in any way, and I hope that until next time we can X the patriarchy together, because there's absolutely so much need for it. I will see you tomorrow with the 7th day of Yule, which is gonna be about connecting to our land in winter. And Wales has few light hours, but we'll see what we can do with those.